Welcome back to another episode of Motogp Mac, and today we're going to talk about Fabio Quartararo's recent announcement that he will go for surgery to fix the fractured finger on his left arm. Now, we all saw Fabio fall in Malaysia, and it seemed, to be fair, a pretty harmless fall, and it looked like he just grazed his left hand off the ground. However, when he got back to the pits, you could see that he was in quite a lot of discomfort. And, you know, it soon became apparent that there was definitely something majorly wrong with it, when you could see that he was consistently and constantly icing the finger. And lo and behold, it came out that he had fractured his finger. Now, he still did ride, and he rode a superb race in Malaysia. And you know, while he is unlucky to fracture his finger, he's very lucky that the finger is on his left hand and not his right hand, because that would have made it nigh on impossible for him to ride. Now, he's not going to go for the surgery till after the championship decider, of course, which that makes sense, and the testing that happens a couple of days after. So I would expect by the middle of November he's going to go for that surgery. Now, I know that it sounds a little bit hypocritical from what I said about Taka Nakagami when he fell in Aragon and he damaged his fingers, went for surgery, and then rode in the Japanese Grand Prix, and realistically re-damaged his fingers again, and hasn't ridden a race since the last 3 Grand Prix. But for me, Taka was riding for no major reason, only to ride at home. Now, I could 100% agree with him if he didn't have a contract signed for next year and that this was going to be his last chance to ride a MotoGP bike, or could be his last chance to ride a MotoGP bike in front of his home crowd. But he had a contract in his arse pocket for the next year, and so for me, in that point, there was nothing to ride for, just to ride in front of your home crowd. Look, really what he did, he just ended up doing more damage to his fingers than any good. Finishing last place in your home Grand Prix, you know, was it worth it? I wouldn't have thought so myself. But, you know, this time it is definitely worth Fabio riding. Obviously, it's to do with a fight for the title, for the championship, so there is something worth winning. So I do think it's 100% right that Fabio would ride and not go for surgery before this weekend, because it just doesn't make sense if he went for surgery 10 days before getting on a bike, or you know, or not even 10 days, you know, a week before getting on the bike. So, you know, he will definitely be in discomfort. Now, I do think by the time we get to Jerez, while it will still be fractured, I don't think the pain will be as intense as, say, it was in Malaysia. But it didn't really hold him back in Malaysia. It was sure painful, don't get me wrong on that, but you know, MotoGP riders are probably the toughest in the world, and riding through injuries are expected, but just being realistic with it. You know, no point in risking doing more damage if there's nothing to win. This case, Fabio has a world championship that he could technically still win. However small the chance is, you know, he could still win it. When you look at the crash that he had, you know, what did you think immediately? Did you think it was just a graze or the fracture? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.